Namaste nerds, this is Navinod, and today we're going to be talking about a brand new commander. Doesn't even have a price yet. I don't think that this thing's going to be outlandish. What I did was I left $5.74 in the budget. I think that's going to be plenty. You might even have a little bit of room for upgrades, maybe another dual land or something. This is Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tushamiba Biba, Maraba. Jin Sakai, Ghost of Benjamin's Past. Not sure. He's a samurai. 1 and Esper colors, 4 mana, with the following text. Whenever this guy deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That's whenever he deals combat damage. Remember that. Not when he attacks, when he deals combat damage. Whenever a creature you control attacks a player, if none of your other creatures are attacking that guy, choose one. Either you give that thing double strike, or you make it so it can't be blocked. You give it these two like keyword not keyword abilities. I think it's so crazy that they do that. It's weird. I don't love it. But this is you have a commander that checks some of my traditional boxes, right? We've got a value engine in the command zone. That's mainly the box it checks. But it draws more cards than it might look like at a glance. Like you may, if you build the deck right, it draws grotesque amounts of cards. So this is, this is going to be a control deck. It's asking you to build the deck in kind of a specific way, but really just having like really good control, like removal, counterspell options, and having a commander that's going to keep the cards flowing. I mean, there's worse things you can have in the command zone than that. But also, we're using this, in a sense, to be part of some combos and win lines in the deck. So, if it's not clear, let me just kind of explain the way that the commander works. When you attack with this guy, if he's the only creature, not the only creature attacking, he's just got to be the only creature attacking the opponent that he's attacking. Then he's going to get double strike most of the time. You can make him unblockable and just draw a card if you have 0 open lanes, but you're packing a lot of removal, and usually I think you're going to be you're going to be using his double strike mode, hopefully, and I think probably. I'm a little under the weather if I'm a little sniffly today. It says that if the creature attacks an opponent alone, so that's not just this creature, but it does include this creature, then you get to choose one of the two, the double strike mode or your dude can't be blocked mode for him or whatever creature is attacking each opponent, but they have to be solo attacks, which is an interesting little building conundrum because you need to put creatures in the deck enough to where you can make the value proposition that this commander is giving you really pay off. But at the same time, you can't overload the deck with creatures because it only pays you off if you attack with exactly one guy to one opponent. So I landed on 13. That's if you count guys like Blood Pet, Drift of Phantasms, Street Wraith. Street Wraith should be a hint. What the hell? What's happening? Which one of you hacker freaks did that? Well, you know what? I know who did it. It was Jin, Ghost of Takashishima, because I couldn't pronounce his name right, and he's a ghost, so he's poltergeisting me. Where was I? So yeah, even counting, if we count guys like Blood Pet and Volatile Stormdrake and Street Wraith and Drift of Phantasms, I'm on, and probably you shouldn't, I'm on 13 creatures. If we get a little bit more real, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we'll say 8.5 counting the Stormdrake, because that might snatch something good to attack with, but not that many creatures. This is just a laboratory maniac. So should I talk about, let's talk about the win lines. See, the win lines are going to kind of incorporate these creatures some of the time. Well, not all of them. Let's get to the first thing that I think of when I see a commander that's in good control colors and draws cards is, I think, and especially if black, well, exclusively, I guess, if black is one of those colors, I start to think Doomsday type thoughts, if you know what I mean. I start to think about sticking a Dark Petition in my deck and using it to find a Doomsday and casting a Doomsday and winning the game. So this is our main combo. I think I would call it the main. No, you know what? I don't think that's exactly true. Honestly, the main way that we've been winning in Goldfishing is by stringing extra turns together, but we'll get to that. But Doomsday can be a way to do that. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, as per usual with my weird decks. But we are going to be setting up a Doomsday pile, and you have just kind of traditional Doomsday piles, like we're using things like Street Wraith. Should have been a clue when you see Street Wraith in the creatures. It's probably a Doomsday deck and or Yuriko. But Street Wraith is just a good way to help you smash through a Doomsday pile. For anybody who's not familiar with this crazy powerful card, Doomsday is black, black, black. Search your library and graveyard for 5 cards, exile the rest, put the chosen cards on top of your library in any order. You lose half your life rounded up. And so you're going to set up a pile of cards that allows you to win the game as soon as you draw the first card. That's the idea. And you're going to usually play this in a deck that has a commander that can crack that Doomsday pile, so you can win the game immediately after casting your Doomsday. This deck in particular has not only a bunch of, well, it's got the commander that can draw cards to crack the Doomsday pile, but it's also got a bunch of creatures in the main deck that can also crack the pile if I don't have my commander. And especially if I do have my commander, I can just blow through the Doomsday pile. But it's also got cantrips, and some of them are free. Got like Gitaxian Probe, $3.51, but it's a Doomsday deck. So, like if you have a Doomsday resolve, you're gonna put some kind of a pile together that involves something like Gitaxian Probe, Street Wraith. So these two are on top of your deck. Into a way to draw a couple cards, like a Night's Whisper, and then a Laboratory Maniac, followed by, I don't know, some other cantrip. So, I mean, you can play the different piles are all going to have pros and cons. Like, you can use piles that include Night's Whisper so that you can route your Dark Ritual mana into winning. You can use Frantic Search, which, like, you can use Gush. I've got Gush. If you have 2, usually you will use Gush if you have 2 islands in play, which won't always be the case. But you can set Gush on top of the pile. Maybe you've got a cantrip in hand. Maybe you have a creature that can attack and draw a card, like most of ours can. But you, one way or another, you draw that top card, and maybe it's Gitaxian Probe that you can crack this. So you draw the Gitaxian Probe, you pay 2 life, and then you pick up the next card, and it's Street Wraith, and you pay 2 life, and you pick up the next card, and it's Night's Whisper, and you cast that and pick up the last 2 cards, and one of them is this guy, Laboratory Maniac. You cast your Laboratory Maniac, and then you attack with your whatever creature that draws a card, or you spend the last cantrip in your pile. So there's piles that can win the game for as little as 3 mana. You can have nothing else but just 3 mana and a way to crack the pile with just drawing just one card. Again, like using things like Frantic Search, Gush, Time Walk. I mean, you can, honestly, we've got 5 Time Walks. You can just load 5 Time Walks on top of your deck and go to combat if you have enough mana and crack the pile, and it's Temporal Manipulation, and you cast the Temporal Manipulation, and then you go to the next turn and you get to draw the next card, and it's Temporal Mastery, and you miracle, you pay it for its miracle cost, and so on. And you can just win the game that way. And I hear what you're saying. Well, aren't you going to deck yourself? I thought of that. I'm not a rank amateur. We're playing Nexus of Fate. So it would take an entire video to go through all of the iterations and different piles there are. But suffice to say, we've got piles that take as little as 3 mana, as long as you can just draw 1 card, and we can even do better than that if you can draw multiple cards. And we also can weave Dark Ritual into the... we can weave Dark Ritual in, and oftentimes we can draw like the entire pile in one combat. And then as long as the pile includes a way to draw another card, and you can cast your Laboratory Maniac, then you can play your Lab Maniac, do whatever you need to do to draw a card, and then you win the game. So that's a little rundown of the Doomsday pile, and like, look how good this guy is at, like, not just cracking Doomsday piles, but just shredding through Doomsday piles. Let's say that we've got our commander in play, and we've got Grazilax, and we've got Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel, just those, or Shadow Mage Infiltrator, and our commander. We've got one open lane, and then somebody who just doesn't have a black or a blue creature. So we can send the Shadow Mage Infiltrator at one guy. It's evasive. We can send our Djinn at the other guy. As long as we have an open lane, we're drawing 4 cards right there, just with our commander and Shadow Mage Infiltrator. So that'll only give us 1 card that we have to get through. And we just picked up, our Doomsday pile. 4 of the 5 cards. So we've got like Street Wraith. I mean, at that point, you're probably putting protection into your Doomsday pile. You may even do something like put a Gitaxian Probe in and an Offer You Can't Refuse, so that you can cast the Gitaxian Probe for 0 mana, then counterspell it for 1 blue to give yourself 2 treasures. And then maybe you've got 2 other counterspells to back up your win. Things like that. Like, the better you get at playing this deck, the more creative and kind of outrageous those Doomsday piles are going to tend to get. But trust me, you've got the tools here. You definitely have the tools here to pull it off. So aside from drawing 2 cards per turn, the other thing that this commander is doing for us and putting us in awesome colors is it's allowing us to give all of these creatures that have not attack triggers but actual damage triggers double triggers. So even this little guy here, if we can get this dude through, we draw 2 cards with this guy every time he smacks somebody. And if he dies, we can stick this enchantment onto somebody else and let them draw cards, like Nashi. Nashi is a greedy mofo. He not only wants to draw extra cards, but he wants to use his own ability also, not ninjutsu. Usually not ninjutsu. We're just going to drop this guy for 3 mana most of the time. And when he deals damage, you exile the top card of each player's library, including your own. And until the end of turn, you can cast one of those spells without paying its mana cost, just by paying your life equal to its mana. So it's like a single activation of a Bolas's Citadel, except for you get to Bolas Citadel everybody's deck, including your own. It's somewhere between it's like if Atali, I was going to say if Atali somehow managed to have a baby with Bolas's Citadel, but now there's actually a creature version of Bolas's Citadel. So Nashi is just the love child of Atali and Gwyneth, whatever the new Spider-Man Bolas's Citadel creature is. So if you've got your commander in play and an open lane, then you can hit somebody with this Nashi, and you will exile the top 2 cards of every player's deck, and you can cast 2 of those spells for free. I mean, pay life, but for free, no mana. If you've got this guy and a chameleon in play, you can make a copy of Djinn so that your entire team can get can become unblockable by one of the Djinns and have double strike through the other, which, I mean, that obviously is fantastic, but isn't as necessary as it might sound, because most of our guys have evasion anyway. Not all of them, but the bulk of them have some form of evasion. Grazilax almost has a form of evasion, and almost gives your guys a form of evasion because it makes it impossible for your opponents to get profitable blocks. Grazilax says whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you can return it to the owner's hand. You may return it. You don't have to. It says whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Now that does trigger multiple times per attack. Like if you get double strike, if Grazilax has double strike and he hits the same person twice, that does trigger twice, and you do get 2 card draws off of that. Even though if you were attacking that same player with 2 creatures, Grazilax would not proc twice. That is how it works. I mean, it seemed like that to me, but I looked it up. It's Tymna text. It works that way. Grazlax does. Look it up for yourself, but trust me, it does. I guess either look it up or trust me, either way. But we've got guys that are evasive, like Malcolm Scoundrel and Malcolm Keen-Eyed Navigator. Both these guys have punch triggers. So if you hit somebody with a Malcolm Keen-Eyed Navigator with your Jin in play, then you get double strike, you make 2 treasures. If you hit the some other player with Malcolm the Scoundrel, this guy says he's a 2-1 for 2, flash flying, and that flash is incredibly relevant. Whenever Malcolm, Alluring Scoundrel, deals combat damage to a player, put a chorus counter on it. Draw a card, then discard a card. If there are 4 or more chorus counters on Malcolm, you may cast the discarded card without paying its mana cost. Now, a lot of times, 4 is a lot. But when you're double striking, it isn't. And you're going to generally be double striking because we can flash this guy in at instep, so he won't have summoning sickness. We can go to combat, he flies, and if we give him double strike, then he hits twice. You're going to draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. That's 2 chorus counters. On the very next turn, so the second time he attacks, he's going to go up to 4 chorus counters. And that means that the last time you discard a card, you can cast it for free. And we just happen to be playing a host of spells that we would very much like to cast for free. So this is kind of what we're trying to do in the deck, really. Is we want to start off slow. We want to build up our mana. We don't want to rush anything. We're a control-ish deck. We want to be able to answer our opponents like first and maybe help answer their second win attempts. We aren't a turbo deck, and we can't play like a turbo deck. And honestly, if you run into a pod with like 3 S-tier turbo decks, you're going to have your hands full. You're going to have a hard time winning that game. But you could maybe end up like you're going to be sort of parasitic in that game. Maybe you're playing against opponents that know that you're not the problem, and they'll be dealing with each other and leaving you alone. Like maybe if you're against like Selvala and Ral and I don't know, Malcolm Tana, maybe those other decks will be trying to play like crabs in a barrel and holding each other down, and allow you to turn the corner with your just scads and scads of value you're going to be producing. Because seriously, when this thing gets up and running, it's freaking nuts. If you have, I think I'm going to show you in Goldfishing. It's really, really crazy just how many cards you're going through and how many procs you're getting. Like you're procking all these things. All these guys have like these crazy combat triggers or punch triggers. Nashi, Grazlax gives all your guys. He draws for all your guys. Shadow Mage Infiltrator has evasion, and with your commander in play, this guy is typically going to be punching twice, dealing 2 damage, and drawing 2 cards. Yeah, we talked about Malcolm a little bit. This Malcolm makes double treasures. This Malcolm is going to get the chorus counters quickly. You're going to be going through your deck. You're going to be finding your things. Mostly what we're going to be doing is controlling the board. We have all of the best control spells in the budget version of the format. We've got all the 1 mana stuff, Offer You Can't Refuse, Dispel, Miscast. Is that all the things? Spell Pierce, Surge of Salvation to protect your own stuff. And then we've got like the best 2 mana stuff, like Arcane Denial, Drown in the Lock, Fracture. Mystical Dispute is often going to be 1 mana also. And then we've got things for clearing a path. Like you need to be able to get your guys through. Usually it's not going to be a problem. Like I said, they all have evasion, or most of them. But Run Away Together can potentially clear 2 separate paths for you. It's very rare you're going to need to clear 2 separate paths. But if you do, Run Away Together can do that for you. If you've got 2 flying blockers up, or 2 guys that are like flying and just happen to be in the wrong colors for your fear stuff and the wrong power for your skulk. For instance, we've got in-universe Glenn, Gregor, Shrewd Magistrate. Really, it's just another version of Shadow Mage Infiltrator for all intents. For our intents. So yeah, if you just happen to... I mean, and otherwise, Run Away Together is just a good defensive spell. You can bounce a Ral and a Selvala with one spell with Runaway together at instant speed for 2 mana. You've got your Dovin's Veto, all the best removal, Drown in a Lock, Fracture, really, really good. Obviously Swords to Plowshare and obviously Path to Exile. Vanishing Verse is fantastic, 19 cents. Put these in your budget decks. If you're playing these colors, this should go in. It's just exile, not destroy. Instant speed, exile, target monocolored permanent. Surge of Salvation is new to me, but it feels really strong. I have not played a lot of white since this came out. I usually do put it in my white decks. I think it's going to be really good here, just because we want to protect our stuff. And it's 1 mana. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all damage that black and or red sources would deal to you, to creatures you control this turn. So yeah, the usual suspects, and then just a really good chunk of tutors. We are in the right colors for tutors, in budget exactly. Well, I mean, black is always the right color for tutors, but we've got, Dark Petition, Solve the Equation. And we're looking for Doomsday and Time Walk type stuff, Time Warps, Time Spells, Turn Spells. Solve the Equation, Dark Petition. Doomsday is like the ultra tutor. Ring Sight. Put this in your budget decks, guys. This is really good. It's usually just a unconditional or close to an unconditional tutor for 3 mana at sorcery speed, but still. Very good if you're in these colors. Very good in this deck. Muddle the Mixture. We've got tutors. We've got Shred Memory. Scour. This is a new staple as far as I'm concerned. Wishclaw Talisman. We've got a really good tutor package. Then we've got all the good rocks. And one of the things I have figured out, I have played this into a pod full of S tier decks with really good pilots, and I brought it back to the lab and started tweaking it after that, realizing that the key really is going to be we have to interact early, we have to get our mana going, and we've got to be in a situation where we can start developing our board without going shields down. Don't rush this, guys. You can't rush it. You've got to do turn 1. I came back after playing against the S tier decks, the fast turbo decks, and added things like remote farm. Now we have a 4 mana commander, so it may not be obvious why we'd want to play the depletion lands, but it's because they might feel awkward or seem awkward in Goldfishing, but when you play them in a game, they're not. They're going to allow you to ramp ahead in terms of being able to play your commander and hold up interaction, because you really just can't play your commander on turn 3 and go shields down and expect to get away with it if you've got multiple turbo decks in the pod. Or, I mean, sometimes it'll be okay, but oftentimes if you tap out on turn 3 or 4 to play your commander and you don't have free interaction, you're just going to lose the game. So I added Blood Pet since the run-in with Ral and other turbo decks. I think to really get an idea of how this deck's going to play out, you're going to have to see it in Goldfishing, but I want to explain the other big, main 2 plans. The other big plan is just value out and run extra turn spells into extra turn spells. Very often you're going to be drawing, 6 cards per turn. That might sound like the ceiling, but first of all, it's not that far off from, it's not the ceiling. The deck can do a lot better than that. But that isn't, it is most of the time you're not going to be drawing more than 6 extra cards per turn, but it is not that difficult to get to 6 extra cards per turn. And when you're drawing that many cards every turn and looking at even more cards every turn, you're going to be able to run these extra turn spells into each other pretty easily. When you get to a point where you're ready to untap and draw 6 cards during your combat, 6 cards plus, and you've already got an other extra turn spell stocked up. Your opponents should just scoop, likely will just scoop. It looks funny when you're playing the deck out, because you'll be like making 3 treasures per combat, discarding a bunch of cards at the end step because you're going to discard and you've got too many cards in hand. You'll be using some combination of those treasures and the cards that you're discarding to feed your temporal trespass. And it won't always be like blue, 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 and eat 8 cards. It'll be like blue, 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 and lands, and then use 2 treasures and discarded 6 cards per turn. Hard to explain. Maybe you're going to have to see it. But it feels really, really powerful. When this deck turns the corner, it turns it fucking hard. And yeah, it's always going to be the case with a control type deck. Is turning the corner is going to be the hard part. But if you're in a mid-range meta, I think this thing is going to go just hard as hell. Or even if you're in a mixed meta where you've got a couple of fast decks yourself and like a stacks or a control deck, I think a lot of times you're going to be the favorite in that pod. This deck has what it takes to go over the top of a lot of the grindy decks. I think, we'll just explain the other combo. Because, running turn spells into turn spells is always going to be a way to put yourself in a situation where it would be almost impossible for you to lose the game. And you can do that with things like Narset's Reversal, right? You cast a 5 mana maybe you do a 3 mana Temporal Trespass, or if Temporal Mastery was the first card you drew that turn, maybe you do a 2 mana Temporal Mastery or a 3 mana Temporal Trespass, and you Narset's Reversal, bounce it back into your hand, so that you get to go again, knowing that on your next extra turn you're going to be able to cast another extra turn. So these things kind of have like it feels like it's going almost non-linear, right? It's the hell is that word? How are we doing on time? Exponential. It feels like you're going almost exponential. My goodness, am I gonna get through an entire video without my dogs going crazy? Looks that way. Looks like we might. The last like actual combo. There's different iterations of the combo, but it's going to involve Isochron Scepter. Now, we're not playing Dramatic Reversal because we don't have an infinite mana outlet in the deck, and there's no real reason for us to jam a bunch of infinite mana outlets. But what we do have are some cards like the aforementioned Narset's Reversal, and very expensive but well worth it in this deck. Instant Speed. Mystical Tutor, $12. Gotta sometimes play a Mystical Tutor. So you're gonna put ideally, the way this is gonna work is you're gonna put a Mystical Tutor or a Narset's Reversal on your Isochron Scepter, which is $11-12 itself. So let's just say we've got Isochron Scepter with Mystical Tutor. Then if that's been allowed to resolve, chances are you've got the go-ahead. If they didn't counter any of that, they're not going to counter anything, I would say. But you're going to use your tutor to put your Nexus of Fate on top of your deck. Where the hell is it? In the end section, dummy. It says take an extra turn after this one, and if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it, shuffle it into your library instead. So what that allows you to do is you cast the Nexus of Fate every turn. And so you just take all the rest of the turns. It's an infinite turn combo. Again, we put the Mystical Tutor, which just allows us to put any instant or sorcery from our deck to the top of the deck. You put that on the Isochron Scepter, which allows us to recast it every turn. And then after you cast your Nexus of Fate, it gets shuffled back into your deck. And then you go to your next turn, and before you draw, you'll activate your Isochron Scepter, casting a copy of Mystical Tutor, digging your Nexus of Fate out of your deck and putting it on top of your deck. You'll draw that for turn, so then you go to combat, and then you cast your Nexus of Fate, and it's going to be you passing to you, passing to you, passing to you. So you just use Mystical Tutor every turn to put Nexus of Fate on top of your deck every turn. The other variant of this combo for the deck is Narset's Reversal on the Isochron Scepter instead, and that will allow you to use any of the Temporal Manipulation, Temporal Mastery. This is a good one. This is a great one for the example. When you do have the combo going, Temporal Mastery in hand, and Narset's Reversal. Oh, no, I was mixing it up with the 2 top of deck tutor. Here, the best one to use is actually going to be sometimes Temporal Manipulation and sometimes Temporal Trespass, depending on how much you've got going. Like if you've got ways where you're making a bunch of treasures and discarding a bunch of cards, drawing a bunch of cards, then Temporal Trespass can be as cheap as just blue every turn. Isochron Scepter with the Narset's Reversal will cost 2 every turn to activate. So Narset's Reversal on the Isochron Scepter, that'll cost 2 mana, and Temporal Manipulation will cost 5 mana, and usually by the time you're using this combo, Temporal Trespass will cost like 3 mana. So for a total of somewhere between 5 and 7 mana, you'll be able to do this every turn, and just all of the turns will be your turns. If it's not clear, just as an example, we cast Temporal Manipulation, and we hold priority. We respond to that by using our Narset's Reversal, using our Isochron Scepter to cast a copy of Narset's Reversal. Narset's Reversal says, copy target instant or sorcery spell, return it to owner's hand. And you may choose new targets. That part doesn't matter. You're just making a copy of your Temporal Manipulation, but you're putting the actual Temporal Manipulation back in your hand. So you have a copy of it on the stack. When it resolves, now you've got an extra turn to take, but you also still have the extra turn spell in your hand. So that's just going to allow you, again, to just cast the same Time Walk every single turn. I think that's pretty well it. That's the deck in a nutshell. All the best interaction, all the best removal, all the best counter spells, a value engine in the command zone with really nasty ways to synergize with it. These things go frickin' hard in tandem, like in combination with each other. And then the finishers, running extra turns into extra turns into extra turns, just setting up a Doomsday pile that may or may not involve extra turns, or using the Isochron Scepter to cheat an extra turn every turn. And when you're casting an extra turn every turn, that means you have all the turns. Let's take a look at some... Oh, that last one looked so fucking good. Damn it. This one does not. That would have been great. This is one that's tough. Like, it's tough to know whether you take a chance on a hand like this. You've got 2 lands. You're going to be kind of like okay. You've got a Preordain, which means you could be better than okay. You've got things to curve into. You've got removal. Let's go to the playtester. Damn, I wanted that last hand. That looked so hot. I think maybe we can do better than this. It's not bad. Second 7 looks fine. I think this is fine. We'll keep this. So we draw for turn. Get a tutor. That could be good. We'll just run out of land. This can be tapped. That's fine. And play our ramp. And now turn 3, depending on turn order. Like if it's going to be everybody's turn 3 that you're tapped out, like if you go first, I think we just tap out and play our commander. But if you're not, I don't think you should do that. I think that if you're later in turn order and people are going to be going into their turn 4, we would just play this guy. And we would hold up negate. so that we can stop whoever tries to win on their next turn, which here we can hold up negate or miscast, you know, whatever works. So let's say that was a situation. It's a more realistic way to think about it. Realistically, probably the play right now would be to Dark Petition into Doomsday, get our Doomsday, and clear the pile with these card draw creatures. So we could show that. I mean, we just tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. We get a Doomsday. We have 3 mana. We're for sure have Spell Mastery. We've only got 2 types. We've got 6 cards in the graveyard, so definitely we have Spell Mastery. Alright, and the situation should not have changed much. So we go to combat, 1, 2, 3. And we run into an extra turn. We play our land. Maybe we use a Preordain, Scry 2. And keep those on top and draw a card. And we use our Volatile Stormdrake. No, not yet. Okay. So this guy's getting evasion, this guy's getting evasion, this guy's getting double strike. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can use one of our, we use a land to play a Soul Ring. Tap that to cast this to find some kind of an extra turn spell. So you kind of see where this is going, right? And at whatever point we're ready to, we try to win the game with the Dark Petition. So we get whatever time something... Sure. Do Karn's Temporal Sundering. And we cast it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We go to our next extra turn. We would have discarded. Okay, so that would have been our draw. We had 9 cards. Would have needed to discard. We would have discarded that and that. Okay, and then maybe before our draw step, we cast Mystical Tutor for another Time Walk. That would have been on top. We draw it for turn. We give this guy evasion, this guy evasion, this guy double strike. So we're going to go to combat and draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. All right, groovy. And then we cast this extra turn spell. We whack a bunch of stuff out of our. We'll exile a bunch of stuff out of our graveyard. Take another extra turn. This time maybe we're able to get Nashi down. So then the next combat that we get on our next extra turn, we're going to exile 2 cards off of each player's library. We're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. And there's just no way we lose this game if we got here. Remember, at some point we could have just cast the Dark Petition and gone for the Doomsday win. All right, let's do one more. That's a pretty good start. Yep, we'll keep that. We've got all of our colors. We've got some ramp. Next turn. Cool. We can hold up interaction. We're only on turn 2. Probably don't need to use it. Yeah, now we've got everything we want and need. Now, again, if we were early in turn order, we could probably feel comfortable enough playing our commander out. But if we're later in turn order, which we usually will be, most of the time I think we should hold off. We should wait. We should hold up interaction. And let's say that we did that, and then we end up having to use a piece to remove creature combo or stop it from happening, and then we go to our turn. And now play the commander. Then next turn, we play land, get our ramp ready. Now we go to combat with this guy. As long as we can find an open lane, we draw 2. If we can't, we give him unblockable and we draw 1. I think most of the time we'll be able to find one. So we'll give ourselves the benefit of the doubt this time. And we'll hold up all kinds of interaction. Let's say we had to use a counterspell, and then it goes back to our turn. Yeah, our mana problems will be fixed from this point forward. Where are we on mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we play land for turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we easy can hold up a blue and a black, so that we can hold up Drown in the Lock and Dispel. Or maybe we use the Drown in the Lock to clear our path. Yeah, we kill the thing that was stopping us from getting the double strike off. And maybe also that's a thing that we were worried about maybe winning the game soon. Go to combat, 1, 2, and we can dig a little deeper. Draw 2, 1, 2, and then we'd pass holding up interaction with a full grip, or we would probably first play this. So let's go ahead and play our Gen Part 2 out. 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy copies that guy, and now they're both going to be attacking different players every turn, but one of them will give the Shroud or the unblockable, and the other will give the double strike. And so this guy is going to have his own double strike, and this guy is giving him the unblockable, so he's going to attack for 2 cards and 2 treasures. Draw, draw. And now we can go for the Doomsday win, or we can just cast the Nexus of Fate. We should have enough mana to cast the Nexus of Fate and Narset's Reversal it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess we don't. Yeah, so then we'd have a decision. I mean, this is a lot of tough decisions to make. Cast this, it gets shuffled back. If we would have waited until next turn, we could have used the Narset's Reversal, but I just don't think that's going to matter. Like, we're there. Play a land for turn. And now both of these guys will be able to attack for unblockable 2 cards. So now we'll be drawing 4 cards apiece. Or, I mean, 4 cards per turn. And we could just Doomsday and put extra turn spells on top of the deck and win the game. Like we could just cast very easy mode, no thinking required Doomsday. And our Doomsday pile could just literally be 5 extra turn spells. One of them being Narset's Reverse, or Nexus of Fate, right? And we play some creatures out and we win the game. So that's how the deck plays. Hopefully you guys think that's as cool as I do. I think it's freaking sick. And I think it's effective, and I think it's got something going for it. And it's attacking the meta at a totally new, in a totally different way. You're going to have to put some time and energy into figuring out these Doomsday piles and how they work. And probably, it's not the easiest deck to play. It's a little bit complicated. The sequencing is a little rough sometimes, but that's all I've got for you today, guys. I think that's all I can really think of to say about the deck. It slaps. It does crazy, cool, busted things all the time. Tutor for your combos, but also use that Scour to tutor for your Mask of Memory. That's like the most busted piece in the deck. Until next time, word to your mothers, and namaste, nerds.